let others do your dirty work. So we had a rule, no child molesters, right? We're all called good guys in our room. And this guy who I hated says, hey, I see you have a bed in there. I wanted to move in. I said, well, you got to be interviewed by everybody in the room. So he comes to the room for his interview. I said, what's your crime? And he says, murder for hire. I used to gamble and I owed the mafia 100 grand. I couldn't pay it back. So I took out a $100,000 life insurance policy on my business partner and I hired a hitman to kill him. I said, and you got caught? Yeah. So he agreed to rat out the hitman. And I said, I vote no. Not only are you a murderer, you're a rat. I said, I don't want any rats in my room. Everybody else was like, forget it. So this guy hated me, but he knew I was very close to the Italians. So I'm sitting there next to Truck and he says to the guy next to him, did you hear that Kiriakou got called to the lieutenant's office? He goes, you know why? That guy's a rat. If you call somebody a rat, blood's gonna be spilled. And Truck says to me, did you hear that guy? He just called you a rat. I said, an hour ago, I heard him call you a child, which I totally made up. Without saying a single word, Truck got up and beat him almost to death. He was in the hospital for 6 weeks. Damn. Truck caught another charge. They added 5 more years to the 40 that he already had. And then Cat in the Hat, after he got out of the hospital, was put in solitary for another couple of months. And then somebody told him what I had done. And I ran into him in the housing unit and I said, hey, I gotta tell you something. If I ever hear my name cross your lips ever again, you're dead. You understand me? And he goes, yes. And then that was the end of it.